Hey gang, it's Tim. How are you? So this weekend, I was actually at the grocery store, and I ran into a friend of mine, and we chit chatted for a little bit, and he started telling me about the issues that he's having with his agency, and he said, I signed up with them so they could help me be successful, and I'm paying them 15 grand a month, and they're asking me, what should I do? Now, this friend of mine, he's actually a terrific marketer. He's senior in his organization. He's got a plan. He knows what's going on. But here's the thing. Many marketers are not fully versed in everything. Actually, no marketer is fully versed in everything. So when you hire an agency, what you're hoping is that they will add their vision of what's possible and doable and right for you to your arsenal of marketing tools. But agencies fundamentally are execution machines, right? They say they like give me your search goals and I'm gonna do that thing. Give me tell me your social media goals. I'm gonna do that thing. And agencies get really good at sort of optimizing, right? They learn the tricks. They know how to pull levers and adjust the knobs so that they can get those channels to do the things that their marketer clients want them to do. So the marketer wants the agency to lead, and the agency wants to be told what to do. So how do you fix this? Well, number one, if you're a marketer, you have to understand what your agency is capable of. Many creative agencies are capable of setting out a vision, right? And they can create stuff. They can create pictures and stories, but they don't necessarily run campaigns, right? But if you've hired a performance marketing agency and are expecting them to provide vision, you sort of missed the boat, right? Because the agency is really, really fantastic at optimizing. They're not so good at breaking new ground. Now, I know that can be really difficult. That can be a difficult pill to swallow. So what you need to do here is to essentially, when you are creating the relationship, if there is this expectation of shared vision, of that we're both going to create this vision, well, then you actually have to say that right out front, and you have to assess whether or not the agency is capable of that. So a great opportunity before you hire this agency would be to do a paid for strategy. So and it doesn't, depending upon your scale, it's all going to depend on how much it costs, but get the agency to tell you what they would do, how they would move forward. And you got to pay them for this, right? It's not fair to ask them to share ideas on spec. A little bit it is, but not a lot. So but you should ask them to do a full go forward strategy where they can talk about all of the things that you expect them to, your brand, your customer, your CPA, the channels you're going to use, how all this connects. Now, if you are the agency and a client says, awesome, we love you, we think you're so great, but what we're really hoping for is that you can help us, figure out the market. First of all, you should be like, full stop, that's not really what we do. We run marketing campaigns, right? You give us the goals, we go get them. So if your client is asking you to run into undiscovered country, like vision and future of the company, you have actually got to take the time to say, number one, you need to evaluate whether or not that is in your skill set. If it's not in your skill set, don't do it, because it's not going to end up well for either one of you. Now, you have to be honest with yourself whether or not this is in your skill set. So do you have a vision for your agency? Do you have a long range plan? Do you have a clear customer clear customer avatar? Do you have both direct marketing and content marketing? Do you have strategies for people who are ready to buy now, then, and later? If you don't have those things sort of at your fingertips for your own agency, it is very, very likely that you are not going to be able to create them for a client. So do not promise things you cannot deliver. That will sort of stop a lot of heartache. But if you feel like you can, a perfect thing to do is to say to your client, like, hey, it is really hard for us to create vision and execute strategy and execute tactics at the same time. So once we've got campaigns going, that's where our focus is because we're managing your dollars. So let's take a breath, let's step back, and let's figure out whether or not there is a strategy, if there is a vision that we can create together. We'll share what we know, but we're going to need a lot of information from you, and let's see if we can come up with a space that's in between us that that leverages the best of the brand and the best of the agency. So that's like a third space that you'd both be living in. So, and you should, if you're the agency owner, actually ask to be paid for that. You don't want to be doing this on spec because it's not what you're awesome at, right? Because if you're running a performance agency, you're good at execution, not necessarily long-term vision-based strategies. So the key to solving this is right up front. Marketer, if you need vision, express that. Do a strategy, a vision and strategy exercise with your prospective agency. If you're an agency and the client says, hey, we need vision, you should say, hey, like, this is not necessarily what we do. So let's create a third space where we both come together and see if this is going to happen. And that's going to cost whatever, X thousands of dollars. Because you two, both sides really need to be bought into this. And it has to be a clear and full expectation that each side can participate and deliver. If the marketer is just saying, like, we don't know, then agency, you should move on, right? You should just like say, okay, you don't know, we don't know, because if you don't know your business, we can't help you. Like we run marketing channels. If the agency if you're the marketer and the agency seems to have some trepidation, move on. Go find somebody else. Go find a marketing strategist who can help you out and create the vision that you need. Hire a consultant, a CMO sort, who can help you create that vision. And there's lots of them. You can hire me, I can do that stuff. But essentially what you need to do is figure out like what is in, agencies are really good at doing what you want them to do. They're not so good at creating new space. Marketers, you want to be, you're really good at doing your business, but you have to have the vision. So if you're going to ask your agency to create it, you need to come to them ready to work to create it together. But if there's any trepidation on their side, you should step back. Do not engage them to create vision. They can go run your existing marketing campaigns, but go find a dedicated resource who will help you with strategy. Now, if you're already in this situation, it's worse. You have to essentially get together with your agency and say, okay, can you do this? Can you not do this? And if they haven't done it, there's been like friction, the agency is not suddenly going to create new capabilities. If you're expecting them to lead and they're not leading, by you having a meeting saying, we want you to lead, that is not going to happen. So you actually need to bring in a third party. If you don't have the vision and the agency doesn't have the vision, you got to go spend some money to find that third party. Now, if you had an agreement with the agency that said, holy moly, we're going to create vision together, and they're not pulling their weight, and you need to bring in a third party, you should just say, hey, listen, agency, because you didn't fill your end of the bargain, you got to split half the cost of this third resource with us. I mean, that just seems fair. Okay. So be careful. You got to be really clear about what you need. You got to be clear about your limitations, and you got to communicate. And if there's a failure, then you need to essentially remediate with somebody else who's got deep experience there. Okay. Now, here's a quick pitch. If you liked this, give it a thumbs up. That's awesome. That's cool. Whatever. Follow me, subscribe. But also there's a link over here for a new service I'm putting out called Marketing Memos Pro. You'll get content like this, deep content every week, every month. There'll be lots of video, lots of newsletters, and great interviews. See you soon.